How can you be sure that your own memory is good?
With mainstream media, which, to be plain and frank, I regard as akin to evil. What I mean by that is I think it primarily exists not to give people true information, but to maximize people's vulnerability.
Why would they come after you particularly? That it's all a grift?
Bears advice and be a good man.
I am a good man.
Be a good man. We're talking about the fact that you have been doing water carrying for Satan. That's what we're talking about, Piers.
Who's Satan?
Water carrying. Maybe we are a couple of grifters, a couple of worthless, lousy grifters that will say whatever we have to say to stay on the internet, make a few quid and flog a book and, oh, Meghan Markle, she's a bitch. Is that all right?
Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. We are back again, and I hope every single one of you are doing well. We've got a very interesting video, so I need you guys to fasten your seatbelts. I'm sure most of you guys will be aware of the allegations that have been made against Russell Brand. He was in court back in February. That situation has been adjourned. It was meant to be adjourned till May, but I believe it's been adjourned till like October. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below. It was only a few days ago where Russell Brand's done an interview and he said this.
In Europe and in the United Kingdom where I'm from, the age of consent is 16. And I did sleep with a 16-year-old when I was 30. But when I was 30, I was a very different...
Whatever he's about to say thereafter, there is no excuse in that, my friend. 30 years old, sleeping with a 16-year-old. Which means you're someone, age 30, taking advantage of a minor, because that's technically what they are. Like, you're not an adult until you turn 18. When you're talking about 1-6, still eligible for year 11, on the verge of going to A-levels, I mean, what are we talking about?
Person. I was a lot younger and I was an immature 30-year-old. Consensual sex, actually, with a variety of people, when there is a strong power differential, as there is when you're a famous man that has the ability to attract women that I had at that time, I think involves exploitation. I think it is exploitative. I recognize that my sexual conduct in the past was selfish, and I did not apply enough consideration, barely any, I suppose, really, to how that sex was affecting other people.
I mean, regardless of what he said there, ladies and gentlemen, this is truly disgusting. And it's not okay. Like, it's not okay. I'm not even too sure why this guy went on the Megyn Kelly show and said what he said. I don't know why he did that, especially when he's got these allegations hanging over his head. It doesn't look good. Anyway, let's now switch over and listen to Piers Morgan and Russell Brand go at it. Now, I haven't seen the full interview, and don't worry, we ain't going to be watching the full interview. I will just be taking the best bits from it. So fasten your seatbelts, hit that like button. Piers Morgan calls Russell Brand a massive grifter, and so much more, including diving into these allegations. Let's hear what they've got to say.
Let's come to this. Save your best lines.
Look, I know we're both English, but do you mind if I pray?
Sure.
Before?
Sure.
Oh, God, help us have a...
Why does Piers look so uncomfortable? Look at his face.
I don't know where the truth lies. You're going to basically go through a process which could end up with you going to prison for a long period of time.
I did sleep with a 16-year-old when I was 30.
Here in New York, it would have been a crime.
We are going to find out the truth. And if the truth is I am going to prison, my job will be, do not be afraid of that truth.
This Bible, actually, I think it was this one you took into court. What were the relevant passages for you?
Correct. Thank you for asking me.
This is the first interview you've done with any Brit since the allegations. You are slightly hypersensitive to anyone challenging you, because most of the media you do, you don't really get challenged.
Excuse me. Amidst the rape allegations,
Imagine not going in there prepared, like.
Shagger of the Year titles do not seem quite as valuable. Some of the shines come off.
You only became a Christian 7 months after the allegations were made public. You've worked out that this could give you some kind of cover. You know there are people who think you're basically just a massive grifter.
No, that's what they say about you, actually. Here's
Oh, good.
calm down and slow down.
It's a serious question.
I want you to calm down and slow down.
Very calm. This sense that you were somehow singled out, targeted deliberately. A lot of people think that's honestly bullshit.
I can't actually find the verse that I had that day.
You were an atheist.
Oh, what are you going to be next?
Well, yes.
Muslim?
That's what some
A Jew?
people.
A Scientologist?
That's what some people think.
Hitler. What do you think about Hitler? I think it's a really good place to begin one, how are you feeling? And also the principle of the presumption of innocence, because I think we are living in a hazy, fluxy time where people are very uncertain about truth in the broadest possible way. People are very uncertain about information in a way that feels like we're all navigating a quicksand and a new territory and a new terrain. And what I'm most interested in and what feels resonant to me, and I enjoy and appreciate at least your declaration of a kind of a lack of intimacy. And the reason for the lack of intimacy is I feel that in a way, Piers, because we're both English, we're around the same age, and we've both been in and around media, I sort of see in you this kind of, and don't take it because I'm going to play exactly the same thing to myself, this kind of cockroach power of like moving through these dreadful, dreadful worlds. And somehow here you still are online with your own show, riding the wave of how media is operating now. People don't get to do that if they're a nobody. People don't get to do that if they don't have, I would say, certainly tenacity and strength. But when I was a kid, I used to watch that show like most people did, a lot of people at least, The Word. And I remember you being on there, you were young, man. I bet you was 30. I think it was even when you were still showbiz at Bazaar,
which was
The Sun there, prior to being the Mirror editor. And I remember my mate at the time, we were like potheads and that, like saying, I like him. He was saying, when we're famous, because we weren't, and he still isn't, God love him though, but why not? Because that's another thing about when you move through many worlds. You see, well, who are the people that make it? Who are the ones that get churned up? Who are the ones that get elevated? Who are the ones that get destroyed? Who are the ones that get investigated? Who are the ones that don't? Who are the ones where the presumption of innocence is retained? Who are the ones where the presumption of innocence is stripped away? And my mate, he went, I like that, Piers Morgan. And I liked you too. Just as a person on the TV, on The Word, sat behind a panel, probably judging some audacious and absurd thing, because The Word was all about people exposing their genitals and sort of the late night vulgarity. It was also sort of a kind of TV masterpiece, wasn't it, really? Anyway, then I would read The Sun every day. I would read The Sun every day and read your showbiz columns. And I kind of really liked that. And then when I sort of saw how you had maneuvered through these worlds, becoming Mirror editor as a very young man, weren't you, in your 30s? And I know that Rupert Murdoch, that Mephistophelian figure, that timeless man, about whom someone once told me, because I go, tell me something unique about Murdoch. Why is he the person he is? And this person goes, he lives like he's never going to die. And if some decision don't go his way, he's patient and he's cool. Oh, the merger's not worked out. It will work out. That's the power that a man can have to, in the case of Rupert Murdoch, one would say, influence significantly the trajectory of a nation, even in matters such as elections or wars. And so, in a sense, Piers, of course, as like Russell Brand from Grey's Essex, some bloke who was a crackhead and a heroin addict who married Katy Perry, who's now really just a married dad of 3, but also deeply fascinated with truth. I am fascinated with truth. So with something like this impending trial, which you sort of, when we were chatting before, described as the elephant in the room, yeah, it's sort of like, it's sort of awesome. And I mean that literally. I mean, it induces a terrifying, glorious awe. Because like you, I look at the news the whole time, right? And I'll look at a story like what many people would refer to, and you would refer to, as a genocide in Gaza. And I think, wow, we consume so much information now. I find it hard even to connect with the human beings. Like I can't take it when I see, and this individual father has lost this individual child. When it gets that close, I can't really even take it. And say a story like this one, because I have a strong instinct, and I'd love to have the conversation I could have with you about how media operates, how media selects, how media deselects, how media targets, that media is not neutral, particularly traditional, conventional media. We're doing this interview and
yeah, I totally agree with what he's saying there, my boy. We're kind of experiencing it ourselves right now, aren't we?
Associated Press studio. The Associated Press is a sort of a bastion of neutrality with how it's regarded. But if you investigate the inception and funding of the Associated Press, you will discover that it's like all media. It has a telos, an intention, a function. It's there for a reason. And you and me, we've lived in that world. We know things a lot of people don't know.
This is the thing about Russell Brand, man. He's such a smart guy, bro. Like, you can just hear it in him. He's a very smart, intelligent, intellectual very well articulated guy, and frustrating to know that someone as smart as this is in court for wild allegations. Things that only creeps would do.
Stories that, if they were printed, would blow some of the world's biggest stars out of the water forever. We know that. We live in that world. And beyond celebrity gossip, even though, gosh, to this day, people are fascinated and allured by it. Important stuff, man, about corruption and the world's most powerful people. We know it. And it's hard to communicate it. Sometimes it's difficult to corroborate it. Sometimes it's imprudent to say it because of personal reasons. You've got to survive in this world. You have survived in this world. Where I am now is I feel like I've been on trial my whole life anyway. The whole thing's been a trial. I'm just some kid from Grays. I've been a heroin addict. I'm the only child of a single mother. The whole thing's a trial. I go to jail. The thing is, I believe in God. I've always believed in God. It is different to believe in Jesus. It is different, and I'm really aware that some people just think it's...
But have you thought about the reality?
It is different to believe in Jesus. Some people just think it's...
But have you thought about the reality of losing your liberty?
Yes.
Of, night one in a cell, and that's going to be your life for a few years. In other words, the worst case scenario, which everybody who faces a criminal trial has to contemplate.
And all of us.
Of course.
All the time.
Of course.
Every day.
But have you thought about that moment, if that clanking door shuts and you lose your liberty, how you would deal with that?
I will be with God wherever I am. And of course, I would prefer to be with God with my wife and my kids. But this is what I have to do. I'm not saying that that's not a difficult image, and a difficult thing to contemplate. Of course it is. But in fact, actually what I was trying to get to, but I recognise I pirouette some when I start talking, was the hardest thing is knowing that in spite of all the potential reasons that I'm in this situation, that there are people in this world that feel so aggrieved about their contact with me that they are willing to go through this process. That is a very difficult thing to countenance, and a real challenge, and something that in whatever ways are necessary must be addressed. And it is comforting to think that there could be justice, that there could be. We are going to find out the truth, and we're going to deal with the truth. And this is a direct quote from, I think, the Times: take down social media influencers. Now, there's an obvious clear distinction between my reckless, lascivious conduct, about which I was open and honest, indeed your own words demonstrate that, contemporaneously, and the obvious retrospective damage that's now done. It's difficult not to imagine that a documentary made in the midst of my own conflict, ongoing conflict with mainstream media, which, to be plain and frank, I regard as akin to evil. What I mean by that is I think it primarily exists not to give people true information, but to maximize people's vulnerability and the ability of powerful interests to exploit and control people.
Can I just, on that...
Oh, man, you know what? I have to agree with what Russell Brand just said there, 110%.
Akin to evil. What I mean by that is I think it primarily exists not to give people true information, but to maximize people's vulnerability and the ability of powerful interests to exploit and control people.
Can I just... On...
Yeah, 110%, I agree with him. That is exactly what the media are doing.
You can, but remember, be careful because of the legal situation. I just want to land fully that when a country and a country's media treat its own population as a kind of invaded and occupied territory, we should pay attention to that. That there was a military operation took place in this country, the United States, and in our beloved country, the United Kingdom. And there's a reason now, Piers, that people from farmers to the white working class, to almost every aspect of British public life is alive and febrile with hostility, anger and confusion. The systems are breaking down. The systems are breaking down because of the technology. When Breitbart said brilliantly that politics is downstream of culture, perhaps we could have included that technology is very near the top of that stream, not the absolute source. But technology is changing everything.
No, I agree with that. But let me ask you, why would the state, the establishment, why would they come after you particularly? I mean, you were doing a YouTube channel, you were doing your thing, you were having opinions.
He has been out there spitting facts about corruption, and let's just be honest. Regardless of the allegations, ladies and gentlemen, we have to be real. Russell Brand has been outspoken, saying whatever is on his mind, and he's literally been, in my opinion, dropping some mad bombshells. Bombshells to the point where they're going to want to silence him. Of course they're going to want to silence him.
But a gazillion people were doing that. This sense that you were somehow singled out targeted deliberately, that all these allegations are only because you, Russell Brand, was saying stuff about a COVID pandemic or whatever. A lot of people think that's honestly bullshit. I was like, come on, Russell, it's not that. And when they hear you I wouldn't say you're dismissing it, but when you say but when you say
absolutely not,
but
it's
when,
really
but when
important.
people say also,
I also think that's quite reductive, if I may say, the way that you've sort of framed it, because it is not just me. I mean, the idea that there is not a set of powers that manipulate the public conversation in the wake of Charlie Kirk's murder, the annihilation or near annihilation, which he obviously survived, of Joe Rogan, the vilification of admittedly controversial figures like Tommy Robinson or Andrew Tate, and I'm not trying to set myself up in a rogues gallery here, but Piers, you've operated in media for long enough and with enough depth and understanding to recognise that there are flavours and ways of handling obstreperous public figures. And I don't think of myself as particularly important. I know that my importance
that's really my point. My point is, I just don't think that you were I mean, I don't mean this to be remotely derogatory.
No, but I'm not actually...
Because you had a very popular channel and lots of people were watching it. It's not that. It's just, I don't think that your influence in any of those debates would have warranted the establishment going, right, we've got to silence Russell Brand.
Yes, I think you're right. And I think it's that kind of reductivism that stops people having a clear view of how these systems work. And sometimes it's good to take recourse to some of the great American comedians, as Carlin says, where interests converge, no conspiracy is necessary. You know that deep state organisations are nebulous as well as nefarious, that they operate in ways that are difficult to understand, that there is a kind of overall intention. You know that there was a point where mainstream media recognised we're going to have to pivot radically. We're not selling newspapers anymore. People are getting their news from different sources. People are having different conversations. People are starting to not trust en masse. Like, think about this as a good metric, if you'll indulge me. Say, if 20, 30 years ago, when people would talk about someone like Alex Jones, and let's not talk about me, let's just go with, that I've got a criminal trial, and quite right, and by God's grace, the right outcome will prevail, and whatever that is, then instance correctly, is becoming deeply sceptical and cynical about what we're told by the BBC, what we're told by the New York Times, what we're being told even by prominent influencers like you, and in some cases,
which is driven a lot by social media, I think.
Indeed, of course it is, and the very interests that are able to control mainstream media then migrate to social media and attempt to control that. Firstly, find faith and integrity in yourself. Do whatever you can. Pray. Find God. Secondly, we cannot have systems that prioritise the centralisation of power, whether that's representative democracy or this global commercialism.
So what would you do?
Use the technology that we currently have. All right, good, this is the bit I wanted to get to. Can I have a glass of water? I mean, it's Associated Press news.
Well, they're not under any obligation to give us bottles of water.
Oh, I see. Well, actually, this guy, my mate Jake,
we are trying to find you some, but they're not our servants. So.
No, absolutely. Hold on a minute. I'm not declaring these people.
They don't all work for us. We're just hiring their studios. So.
No, I know that, and I think I've established quite good rapport.
We should be cognizant they're not working for us.
With my mate Jake, though, who's over there, who actually is working for me.
Well, Jake can get you one.
I'm directing it to. And also there was one or two other people. So it's not, just to be clear, I'm not sort of like going, oh, get me some water, man.
I'm a Hollywood star. AP that they should get you a nice bottle of water.
Well, I just thought that the facility itself might have amidst its many benefits, water. Thank you so much. That's so kind. Was the obligation crossing the floor? See, thank you very much. I really do appreciate that glass of water. Would you like some? Don't be proud.
I'm good, man. I like the tap water.
You like the government water?
Love it. Yeah, no problem. Even if it kills me.
I can't keep drinking the government water, Piers. I can't keep taking the government
Actually, the water is some of the cleanest in the world, but you know that.
Look, you're a very argumentative and obstreperous individual.
Not at all. I just like to challenge.
You've even argued with that.
I like to challenge people.
Go on. So, go on. We were talking about... Oh, yeah. This is what I wanted to say. You say that I'm a grifter, and actually, to tell you the truth,
I say other people have said that it's all a grift, and they would actually include. And this is for you to actually, in the end, only you know. But you've got this new book, How to Become a Christian in 7 Days. People say, look, you only became a Christian 7 months after the allegations were made public, and that this is part of your thing, that you've worked out that this could give you some kind of cover. You're a born-again Christian, that this is, you've heard people say this.
But what do you
A lot of
think-
other people take you very sincerely and believe absolutely in your commitment to this.
I know, I hear you, mate.
I was with a mutual friend of yours, bumped into him, Bear Grylls, the other day. He was a great guy who was there at your baptism. We famously saw the video and so on. He absolutely believes that it's sincere and genuine. And I completely respect that. I don't know, right? In the same way that I don't know where the truth lies about the allegations you face.
Or COVID, or Israel, or Palestine.
No,
and this neutrality is terrifying
Sure,
for
but I can
people.
only proffer an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to change my opinion.
Good.
Right? My question for you is, do you have genuinely principled opinions, do you think?
Yeah, because I think if you don't have, yeah, I do. But obviously I ask myself the same question. Why go to the aggravation of going on Piers Morgan? Because I tell you, with everything that's been shown to me, with everything I've learned, the idea of maybe selling some books is it's a professional obligation in some ways, but it sort of doesn't weigh that heavily on me in the scheme of things, just because everything else is so sort of varied, luminous, brilliant, beautiful, awful trial, magnificent trial, best of times, worst of times, revelation of real truth, exposure to the fallibility and facetiousness of fame. Yeah, in a sense, Piers, like you, I don't have the kind of thick skin you have, because I sometimes think you genuinely don't care that if people think you're a grifter. I don't think that. I think you are a creature of our time. In a way, I think that's what is always brought forth.
Well, I think in the end, only I know and only you know, right?
Maybe not even. Maybe not even, because why would you make yourself the highest authority? You can sort of understand your intentions, but there is a thing in psychology called the unconscious. There is a thing in Christianity called the spirit. And both of these things indicate that your personhood is not absolute authority. And in your sort of continued stance, which is somewhat legitimate as a journalist, of neutrality, what's kind of masked in that is that Christianity demands of you that you make a choice.
But I'm not neutral.
You kept saying, I've got, I'm proffering an opinion, but I don't care about COVID. I don't know, I could be wrong.
No, I get people on from all sides to debate it. I personally have a lot of opinions, a lot of strong opinions. I'm not afraid to express them. If you ask me about, do I believe in vaccines? Absolutely is my answer.
Yeah.
Your answer was a long spiel of not answering.
It's like, I'd be really careful about it. I'd be right careful. I'd read Gavin de Becker's book, Facing the Facts. That's what Forbidden Facts by Gavin de Becker. That's what I'd read on that. And I'd read The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert Kennedy, and then make a decision. And also tell me what books are good to demonstrate the alternative.
Tell me this, what kind of Christian are you?
I'm like a kind of Christian that has to hang by a thin thread of faith, knowing that I am broken, that you are broken.
Do you have a denomination or not?
Why?
I'm just asking.
No, I'm very.
It's not an allegation. I'm just asking.
I just treat everything as another allegation.
I know you do. If you don't mind me saying, you're.
Was everything okay in that interview we did in 2006?
Yes, but it's you are slightly hypersensitive to that kind of thing. I think because you don't really do many interviews. If I'm honest, you don't do. This is the first interview you've done with any Brit, for example, since the allegations. And I'm grateful to you for doing it. But you are slightly hypersensitive to anyone challenging you. Because most of the media you do, you don't really get challenged.
I don't mind being challenged, and I want to be challenged, actually, and I like being challenged. And I didn't go, what, Piers Morgan?
Right.
This is what he's like.
Yeah.
he's going to be stroking my thigh throughout the interview.
I think this is a good conversation we've had, that it's all a grift. Can I go back to asking you a question about your Bible?
Yes, if you want to.
Thank you. Was that the one you took into court?
You're the very one.
Okay. What was your thinking of taking it into court? And what you were seeing, looking at some passages, what were the relevant passages for you?
All right. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. That didn't hurt, did it?
A little bit.
So it looks like this is the moment where he struggles to find the passage.
It was this from Isaiah. And you're right, Bear did say, be chilled. Sometimes I lose the chill, man. It's pretty... It's this. They don't like that, do they, in the old gallery? But remember, you just said it's a hired spot. This is from Isaiah. Excuse me.
Talk about awkward moment where...
Man, I did a market before.
I mean, this is pretty embarrassing. I think they've done this purposely. Why did they not just edit this part out?
It says here,
Oh.
the verse that I was looking at that day was not this. I can't actually find the verse that I had that day, but this is good enough. This is from Isaiah 12. Bears advice and be a good man.
I am a good man.
Be a good man.
Profound belief in God. And I, as a Christian...
No, we're not talking about my profound belief in God. We're talking about the actuality of God. And we're talking about the fact that you have been doing water carrying for Satan. That's what we're talking about, Piers.
Who's Satan?
Water carrying. The fallenness in this world.
Who's
the fallenness.
Man said, who's Satan?
Carrying water for Satan.
Satan is the epitomizing object of the realness of evil. The evil is not some abstract moral idea.
Who's the
It is
Satan
a
I've been
presence.
carrying water for?
I suppose it's and I'm trying not, I don't mean to be mean.
Is
Satan,
it like? I don't care.
Now, I can't lie at this point. The way Russell Brand is just holding his shoulder, that would piss me off, bruv. Get off me. What are you holding my shoulder for, bro? Stop touching me, man. Stop touching me. At the same time, we can see Piers Morgan getting heated here. He's feeling some type of way because it's kind of like Russell was hitting some hard-hitting truths.
it's the institutions of media power and how
He
they...
picked up his drink and sipped it as well. You know, Piers Morgan's is playing mind games right now. And Russell has still got the hand on the shoulder. You know, that's a muggage thing as well, bro. Russell is actually trying to buoy him off at this point.
interact and operate with government.
And you can see it in Piers's body language, it's kind of like, why is your hand on my shoulder?
I suppose one could argue your initial position in COVID. One could argue what went on with the mirror stuff. One could argue what went on, say, with the contentiousness around the terrifying and awful conflicts in the Middle East. But more importantly, right now, that there's a chance for us to, even when like I sort of take my own advice and more importantly Bear Grylls' advice and think, right, just sit and chill, that you sort of revert to a kind of, he was an atheist, he was a Buddhist, and I can't see that as a good faith inquiry. I see it as an attempt to generate an outcome and to create a sort of a kind of hysteria, whether that's in this room with me or sort of more broadly among people. Like Piers Morgan Uncensored could be an opportunity to house, frame, and present in a kind of graceful way important opinions. And I'm not suggesting that I've got any of them, but I happen to be in a sort of a really weird situation in a way that's deeply similar and comparable to your own. You've sort of gone down the weird gushing chute of fame in a million different ways, been close to actual dark, nasty power, come out the other side. And what I suppose I'm saying is, look, I'm happy to have it. It's because nothing means anything to you. It's like, that's what it feels like a bit. Like, what means something to you? Like, you love your wife, you love your
Piers
kids.
is just numb to it now. He's been in the game for too long. He's just numb. He's literally just numb to it. He doesn't know any different. Like, what else can he do? He can't step out of line. Otherwise, he doesn't have a career. All of this goes in the bin. So all Piers needs to do is just keep it zipped.
To die for your country, where the UK is about to march teenagers into war, the United States is about to do it, and me and you, me as well, maybe we are a couple of grifters, a couple of worthless, lousy grifters that will say whatever we have to say to stay on the internet and make a few quid and flog a book and, Meghan Markle, she's a bitch, is that all right, is that a bitch? Israel, yeah, fuck it. Maybe that's all we are, but through him, not through you or me, we can be something great. And when I sit here with answering questions about whether or not I vaccinate my kids, I think, no, not this. This isn't it. This isn't it. And there's a hair there that's been bothering me for a long time. Thankfully, it wasn't attached. Otherwise, that would have been...
I have to say, this podcast has been interesting. It's been insightful. It's also been a bit boring, I can't lie. But towards the end, Russell Brand has literally woken up.
Grooming, and what would that be in the ape world? What I want to say to you is that I want to be better. I want to be better. And for me, the cost of that, who knows what that's going to be? You've alluded to it already. I want you to do it as well. I know you can do it. I want you to be a meaningful participant. I feel that there's some reason that you're in this world, and it's not to generate conflict, and it's not to generate, it's to participate in the creation of truth. That was always your destiny. And I want you to
Do you reckon right now Piers Morgan is having an awakening?
do it.
Is your book going to generate profit?
actually, I've already decided, and believe me, I don't want to do this, that no. But if it does make any money, and the chances of that are slim in this crazy world, that I will find a way. In fact, me and you, if you, I mean, like, you know, I want to give it to something that means something. I've seen it all. I've not seen it all, but I've seen enough. I've seen a lot.
It's Tucker Carlson's company's doing it, right? TuckerCarlsonBooks.com.
Tucker Carlson Books is an imprint of the company Skyhorse, which are a company that will publish stuff of cancelled people.
Christian 7 Days is on sale at TuckerCarlsonBooks.com. But no,
I don't think it's good to be all sort of passive like that. You know, like sort of say neutrality. Yeah, it's my job to be a journalist. It's good in a way.
I've never claimed to be neutral. I don't know what you're talking about. Where have you got that from? I'm probably the least neutral person on the airways in the world.
Well, I suppose
literally my whole reputation is of being highly opinionated. Where have you got this idea that I want to be neutral?
I reckon it's from like
such totally bizarre misreading.
Lack of conviction.
Really?
That's what I feel. Yeah.
You don't think I have any convictions?
That's what I'm feeling. I feel that you're a beautiful person, and like, I want to be in a position where, look, man, think of the ones of this I've done. I've done Paxman. I've done that other little one with the earring. Like, I've been around all these people, mate. And all I want is to feel like, in the midst of some terrible madness in my own life, which definitely needs to be resolved, and I pray to God that there is a resolution of this that we can look at. And, oh my God, that's miraculous that happened.
What if you get convicted and you go to prison?
And it's not very nice.
No, not that.
I'm talking
not,
rats.
not
You'll
that.
have to choose a gang.
Not that.
They'll be the white supremacists,
not that.
the Muslims.
Not that.
What you do, join the white supremacists on one day and then grift for cigarettes with the Muslims on the next day.
How will you deal with the fact that in that
Sorry.
moment, God has felt that's the right thing to happen to you?
Then, like, you know, drink the cup, man. Drink the cup. That's the deal we've got. That's the deal we've got, Piers. And how will you feel on your judgment day? How will you feel on your judgment day? Because it's outside of time. It's here now. And it's forever. Meaning that all of us have a calling to be wonderful. And it's bigger than even important, serious things where evidently people have been hurt and big trials and big consequences for, you know.
Have you been surprised? I mean, I've been through a few ups and downs, as you pointed out.
Well, it's also a bit like a kind of a dementia. Like, you know, have you ever spoken to someone with Alzheimer's and they'll just sort of suddenly the way that they talk is kind of like, I've been through some ups and downs.
Well, no, there's a reason I'm asking the question. Well, when people go through ups and downs, in my experiences, surprising people reach out to support you.
And also, what's that body language?
And other people that you would have expected to don't. Have you had that?
Oh, man, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's sort of an unbelievable kind of churn and change of your life that's sort of, well, it's a bit like you saying, if you're convicted and you're going to jail, knowing in your heart of hearts that you're not a rapist, how will you deal with that God wanted that for you? And it's like, wow, this is reality. I'm not scared of the truth. I love it. It's all that's real by definition. So what is it like when, you know, you lose touch with that person steps up? It's like, oh, that was always true.
Who's disappointed you the most?
Give us the top fives. Top fives.
So who's been most disappointing to you?
No one disappoints me.
Come on.
I'm not doing your mad little game of reducing everything to trivia and tittle-tattle, because some things, believe it or not, Piers, are not trivia and tittle-tattle. In fact, there's an argument for the direct contrary, that none of it is trivia and tittle-tattle, that you're continually in the moment interfacing with a really beautiful reality that has a veil laying across it, and all of us are sort of tangled and interacting with the veil. Oh man, I just sort of thought Terry Wogan and David Icke 1987 vibes. I don't want to do that stuff.
Down below, let me know your thoughts on this one. Do you think Russell Brand is a changed man? Do you think he's the same guy that he was, 20, 30 years ago? I need to know exactly what you guys are thinking, so don't be shy. Leave every single comment down there. That like button, do subscribe. Got plenty more videos uploading, so don't go anywhere. I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.